let's talk a little bit about the intel, and then we'll come back around. Guys, I did not think that we were going to be doing a call tonight. Everything that we've heard over the last few days, including Good Friday, let's call it Decent Saturday, Easter Sunday, and Monday, yesterday, were very, very, very positive and moving in the right direction. Okay? Now, today we did get a slug of more information that puts us in the really, really good place. And I just want you guys to know that even though it's difficult for me not to call it on the big call, I do feel very encouraged by the intel that we've received today from multiple sources. Everything's pointing toward the immediacy of the blessing coming. And I know I've said that. You say, well, Bruce, you said that last week, or you said that on Thursday's call. I know I said it, and I meant it, because the information then was pointing toward it. But what has happened since then is even better. And I'll try to go through this to where everybody can appreciate it, because I know everybody's had it, and everybody's ready to get off this ride. Everybody's ready to get started in our new lives. And I'm no exception. So is Sue. She's more than ready to get started, believe me. And so I'm sure is Bob is probably the most patient of all of us, but he's ready to get going too. Pastor Stephen, he can't wait to get back out in the field and do everything that he wants to do in ministry and work in Central America too. So let's go through where we are. Let's talk for a minute about Iraq again. Iraq has been on a social media blackout, on, off, for days and days now. They had information they just did not want to be put out on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on anything. So they just put a kibosh on social media. Well, my understanding was it came off at 3:15 in the afternoon Eastern time that the ban for social media was lifted at 3:15 Eastern Daylight Time is what I heard. Now, let's talk about what is going on. Usually I switch over and try to figure out what's going on out west. A lot is happening out west. We know that Tier 1, 2, and 3 groups have all been handled, all been processed. We know that there's been some additional people we call stragglers, independents, and so on that have also gone in. We had 2 groups of those and 2 groups of people with SKRs. Those have been handled also. And those were supposed to finish up by sometime yesterday or last night or possibly even into this morning. Okay, and those got accomplished. Now, the banks have been pinging as the rates have been updating continually now for a few days. I don't even want to say how far back they've been on the screens trading upward, but they have been. And I know that, for example, to have everything ready to go, all the banks around the world need to be synchronized. They need to be synced, and they need to be updated and ping back or respond back with a tone or a series of tones to the bank that sends them out. And we know, for example, we thought, well, nothing's going to happen until after Easter. And in a way, that's true. Where the information was pointing toward possibly a Friday, last Friday, Good Friday, to be a great Friday start, it didn't quite come through, not for us. It did for other people, but not for us that we affectionately refer to as the Internet group. Okay? So now we're at the point where, since we are considered Tier 4, TIER, Tier 4. We are really the next group in terms of size to go. Now, for us to go, something needed to happen that happened. One thing that happened was HSBC, you guys know, is working very closely with Wells Fargo and is basically over all of the 6,800 plus or minus redemption centers in North America, meaning really U.S. and Canada. Okay? So, what has been happening is that there's been a status that we've talked about in the past as the redemption centers have gone from engaged status. They just went, oh golly guys, everything's coming together. I'm going to say yesterday at some time, and I can't remember exactly when, they went to active status. And when you go from engaged to active, it means that you are prepared for exchanges to start coming in. So regardless of when that time started, they are there now. Once you go on engaged, you don't come back off of it until all the redemptions are complete. Once you go to active status, I believe that's taking engaged one step further to where now, again, active is active until everybody's through that's using the 800 numbers and doing the exchanges and the ZIM redemption in those redemption centers, okay? So that's where we are. It's like locked and loaded. We are ready to begin in that sense. And they are ready for us. That's my point. They are ready for us. Now, what happened yesterday, Monday, was interesting because, you know, the banks, I'm going to say the banks, the pings that were supposed to come back from all the banks around the world, we got from about everybody but HSBC London. And we're thinking, why in the world is an HSBC London responding back with the codes? Why haven't they reciprocated with these codes back? Why haven't they pinged back? It's because for 5 or 6 countries, yesterday, Monday, was a celebration of Easter. They were off, or the banks were on holiday. And they couldn't really start until everybody was lined up and had personnel to cover. Well, my understanding was that bank and maybe others didn't have even 50% staffing to be ready for exchanges. So that pushed us off until I understand at 2:30 in the morning this morning on the East Coast, Eastern time, that we did receive those reciprocal pings from HSBC London. And that was a very, very good signal to get back. So now the theory is, as a result of that, and any of the other banks that may not have responded or pinged back are supposedly all online, everybody on board. Now, you say the good news, bad news. The bad news was we didn't go yesterday. The good news is we're set to go from here on, and the rates that have been trading in the meantime, even over the weekend, even over Easter, even yesterday, and even today, are continuing to go up, which is a good thing because screen rates are very, very high, higher than I thought they were going to be. Okay, and I'll try to get close without getting real specific on them, okay, because I know everybody wants to know. All right, so I'll try to play nice when it comes to where we are on screen rates, because I think they're very, very strong right now, and they could get stronger from what I understand. So let's look at this. What is the biggest single thing that affects our start other than the fact that all the banks are synchronized and the rates are great and they're continuing to go up in trade. Okay? The other thing that's important for us is the fact that our US dollar, which we now call the USN for new dollar, the USN, is gold backed, just like all the other currencies around the world. But guess what? Guess which currency was the last currency to come on or come alive or revalue, if you will? Yeah, the USN. Right you are, Dandaroo. The USN. So guess what? At noon today Pacific time, the USN was released as the last currency to be considered part of the global currency reset and RV, along with all of the other currencies, making all of the nations of the world sovereign. Now, what does that mean for us? What it means for those that have exchanged and may have SKRs or may have been told that they have money in their account but they don't have access to it yet, or their accounts are showing a pending status. What I believe is whenever that occurred, under some period of time, and hopefully not too long from now, those accounts will be live. Those accounts will be active with the new digital USN, which we tend to call TRNs. The digital format of our new money is, at least we've come up in the last 12 years with the concept of TRNs, Treasury Reserve Notes, meaning the actual physical, almost like a bearer bond paper that backs the actual money as a digital currency in the banks. But there's gold that backs the currency, that backs those TRNs. We have the gold. So picture having a certain amount of gold that has the paperwork to describe the gold itself backing the currency of the United States. Now, what about that new USN, that new currency, the new money itself, the cash, the stuff we keep in our wallets or we put in our money clip? We understand that that currency is at the redemption centers ready for us. And we understand that at some point, and I couldn't tell you exactly when, at some point, it will be either in the banks or it's already in the vaults at the banks and will be brought out and put into the counters and used, for our new money. And I couldn't tell you exactly when that's going to happen. But I have a feeling that it's not that far off now that the USNs have been released, at noon Pacific today. What's interesting is that's noon Pacific is 3 p.m. Eastern time. And I thought it was interesting that the social media ban in Iraq was lifted at 3:15 p.m. Eastern time. There is some right and reason to this. So we have that. That is very, very big, guys, for us to have that move. Those that had money in their accounts, those that had pending status, those that could see it, and I know it's not us, but just to relate to this, those that could see that but couldn't touch it should have access to it very, very shortly. And the reason they couldn't get access to it was because the TRNs/USN digitally was not released until today. So we actually, I'm not huge on holding my breath for announcements, but there may be an announcement that will come out and describe this new currency that we have called the rainbow currency because it's got different shades of color for the various bills that we have, from the 1, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, and 100, the ones we use the most often. So that to me is very important and very good news. We are hearing from high up individuals with the banks that this, in a sense, when that released, that is in a sense our RV taking place in the U.S. Now, when do we get to start exchanging? The number one question everybody's thinking, where's that 800 number? Where's that toll-free number? I've been told that I will have that number, which is an honor to me and to the big call to be able to put out. Don't know when exactly that's coming. I just don't have it yet. I am supposed to get it, though. I'll be honest with you, I am. And I consider it an honor. And when I get it, and when I'm instructed how to display it, how to put it out, I'll do it accordingly. Now, we have heard that this start for us, meaning the internet group, may be a daytime event. So it could be something that happens in the morning, maybe tomorrow morning. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. So all I can tell you guys is everything is pointing toward an immediacy that we haven't really had before because those USNs have been released. It's a major, major play that just took place today. All right, now, I told you I was going to give you a little heads up on rates without being super specific. I just don't want to do it. I know you guys want it, but you know what's cool about this is the rates are changing. They're increasing. They're going up. And so if I quote you something, hey, it may not be that way when you get to the redemption center. And those that may set their appointments a little later, by that I mean a few days later, not a lot later, a few days, could see the benefit of some higher rates. I'm just saying. I don't know that, but that's what could happen. Now, I know a lot of you out there have the Zim, and I'll just tell you right now, the Zim is over 3. Oh, not 3 cents, $3 as a screen rate. This is a screen non-NDA rate. Okay? Let's go to the Vietnam Dong is really being traded up and should be, I'm going to say, not quite there, but should be in the next day or so, approaching, not there yet, but approaching $20. That's what I said. You heard me. The rupiah is close. I don't know if it's going to be quite that high. It was almost on par with the VND, which is now going to be the VNN. Okay? So that's going to be great for you guys. Afghanistan Afghani is a little lower, a little closer, just over 10, which is still phenomenal. What about the dinar? Dinar, I'm saying now, is close to 25, and it could be approaching 30 or maybe a little bit more. Okay, so that's it. I did it. I told you something I never said I would do. I gave you a ballpark idea, not exact, but I gave you an idea of where you are, where we are. My understanding is these would be screen rates, non-NDA rates. That's what I'm understanding. Now, I did mention this before, you guys, for the last umpteen shows, that the Zim is negotiable. And it's worth a lot because it's a gold bond. It's a bond backed by gold. HSBC is going to be taking all these in. Now, they will use the redemption centers that are staffed by Wells and HSBC people, and they will take those in, and it does have a very high value. You can, those of you who have humanitarian projects, like we've talked about, like Rebuild America, for example, por ejemplo, okay, par exemple, you have the ability to negotiate that quite a bit higher than the screen rate, sign an NDA, and use those funds for yourself, but also primarily, at least I'm going to say 80-20, 80% for humanitarian projects, 20% maybe to you. And I think for me, as I told you guys, I plan to use all of my Zim exchange for humanitarian projects, all of it. I'm going to keep it in a separate trust and use it for that. It's going to become my God account. Not 10%, like a tithe. We think of 10% as a tithe. Not 20%, not 30, 40, 50, all of it. All of it, 100% of it, going into the God account. Okay? Because it's so much, I don't need it for my personal life. The other currencies I'll probably take, and put in separate trust for, me and other things. So that's just what I'm doing. Guess what? Not a CPA, not an attorney, not a whatever, and I don't play one on TV, or this show. But I just want you guys to know, you do how God leads you. You guys do how God leads you. Listen to that still small voice of the Holy Spirit as he leads you into whatever you should be doing with this. This is something we've been chosen for. Even the banks call us the COs, the chosen ones. So there is a certain selection that has been divinely appointed for us to take advantage of all this. Now, I wasn't going to go super long on my intel or super long tonight, but it looks like I've already done that. Okay? So all right, so what I'm hearing is that the notifications that we are looking for, they're coming shortly. And I'm not going to try to guess if it's tonight or if it's in the morning or when it is exactly, because I've been told certain things and they've been wrong before. So it's kind of like this. We get it when we get it, guys. We get it when we get it. And I'm good with that. I'm not anxious about it. I know it's right there. Everything that happened today is pointing toward it, and we're that close. But I think they wanted to make sure that the USN TRNs were released, and then now they're ready for us and we're ready for them. All right? We're more than ready. And we're excited. We're excited to smile and meet our banking partners as we go in and get with HSBC and hook up accounts with them and with Wells and all the other banks, whether they're tier 1 or tier 2 or even tier 3 banks. I'm excited. And I'm just going to tell everybody out there that thank you, banking partners from all over. That's right, RBC, HSBC, of course, AIIB, the People's Bank of China. Guys, all of these large tranches that have been happening over the last few months have set money in the banks for this to occur. And over Easter, over this last week, of course, we had the St. Germain Trust that was opened, and we also had all of the global collateral accounts around the world open. So in other words, they're ready for us. The funds are there. I think we're all set. Now, everybody just stay calm. Sue's going to give you something that'll hopefully keep everybody a really cool practice to keep us calm and stress-free as we go into this. I want to just thank all our banking partners for sticking it out with us. And I know you guys that are at the redemption centers that are listening to the big call, you're as excited almost as we are. You're excited for us. You're excited for us to get started. We're excited to meet you and to partner with you and to get our lives going and to make a difference. We're here to rebuild America. We're here to give back to our veterans through the Veterans Retreat Network. We're here to bless people around the world. We're here to do something very, very positive with this blessing. Just so you know, we're not taking all this for ourselves. We don't need that much. This is above and beyond what we could ask or think. And it is. This is an abundant blessing. And we have the plans to make it part of the Abundance Project, the TAP group. Okay? So everybody hang in there. Thank you. Keep staying patient. I think we're almost home based on everything I've heard today. Let's turn it over to our other Professor Emeritus and Chief Learning Officer, Sue. Tell us what's going on out there, Sue.
Bruce, I was kind of scrambling to see if I could bring up some applause sound effects, because that was everybody just try to hear it like we're in a big theater and we're all applauding first for Bruce and that incredible intel, and realizing and receiving the appreciation that we all deserve for having done this together. And I just want to thank you, Bruce. That was incredible. It must have felt amazing to bring that last final bit of intel and really all that detail, because it feels like this is it. So